You're listening to A Tiny Homestead, the podcast comprised entirely of conversations with homesteaders, cottage food producers, and crafters. I'm your host, Mary Lewis. Today I'm talking with Ashley at Wildflower Crumb Company in Jordan, Minnesota, where I used to live. Good morning, Ashley. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. How's Jordan doing this morning?
It is slow and sunny and beautiful. Just how I like it.
I am half an hour southwest of you in Sueur, Minnesota, and it is sunny and it is not freaking hotter than Hades this morning, which is really nice.
Right? It is beautiful. The windows are open. I have my oven on. It's been on the past 2 days, but having the cooler weather has really helped my house not get so hot.
Yeah, it's been miserable up until yesterday. It's been pretty gross for the second week of June.
Yeah, just a little bit.
We should not have weather like this soon in the season. I'm very, very disappointed in Mother Nature this week. Okay, so I this is going to seem really weird. You are hyper local to me. I used to live in Jordan. I lived there for 20 years. And part of the reason that we moved is because we knew that a whole bunch of things were going to be happening. Like 169 was no longer going to have the scary stoplight where people get in car accidents all the time. We knew that they were going to put in a bunch of roundabouts. And we just knew all this stuff was coming down the pike. How is it any better than it was?
I mean, the construction sucks.
Yeah.
That's, 9 months out of the year, sometimes 11 if we don't have snow. But I think that once the 169 area is done, I think it's going to be fantastic just because of it's going to reduce all of the accidents that occur at that stoplight. But as far as all of the extra roundabouts going on, I'm not a fan of roundabouts. Only because, and it might just be because it was Jordan. It's a small town, but for quite a while with the roundabout that was by Radamachers, a lot of the older generation were going the wrong way.
Oh no.
But that has stopped for the most part. Now you just have, your typical teenage driving of being crazy, not being safe. But for me personally, I'm not a fan of the ones by the schools. Only during school time, just because those two separate times from like 7:45 to 8:15, and then you're about again 2:45 to 3:15ish, it backs up bad. Just because of how they have things set up with pickups, drop-offs. The high school, it used to be before the roundabout was there that if you were coming out of the high school, you were only supposed to take a right, which that helped dramatically.
Yeah.
Just so you didn't have to worry about kids crossing, waiting to turn left, all that stuff. It made it easier. But now with the buses get stuck in all of that traffic because of the pickup lines that are long for the elementary school. And things like that. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of those during school time, but summertime, they're just fine as far as there's no backups, things like that. It does get people to slow down a little bit more than they used to. Not a whole lot. So in terms of speed-wise, there wasn't much change. And one thing that I was furious with, by the elementary school, there used to be a crosswalk that would go from the school side to a street called Timber Ridge Court, and they took that away.
Okay.
I had tried talking to the city, hey, why'd you take this away? First they wouldn't respond, and finally somebody had said because it's a mid-cross side cross, and I was like, well, I don't understand, because you have lots of other crosswalks throughout the city that go from a mid-block, meaning that it's in the middle of a city block versus having it be end to end. So lots of them from mid-block to another street, and they couldn't respond to that. They just said, nope, just go all the way down to the roundabout and then come back. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
I'm not, that's ridiculous. The crosswalk never should have been taken away. But it all had to do with a little girl got hit because somebody wasn't paying attention. And I had asked for, those blinking yellow lights by sidewalks.
Yes.
Yep, I asked for one of those. They said, nope, city turned it down. It was too expensive. Um,
But then
so, I
they
mean, as
spent
far
all
as,
this but then they spent all the money for the roundabouts.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yep.
Yeah, well,
So that's the only part that's made me mad. Otherwise, the rest of it'll be fine. I think 169 is actually going to be a lot better. Um, but it's just, waiting the 3 years for all of it to get done. That's
yep,
the sucky part.
sure is. And I have one thing to say about roundabouts. I grew up in New England. Roundabouts are an important part of traffic in New England because there are lots of places where 5 or 6 roads will intersect.
Ooh.
That's what roundabouts are actually for. And I feel like Minnesota has seen it as a trend, a fashion trend for traffic.
Yes, I can see that.
And just a PSA for anybody who doesn't understand about roundabouts. Roundabouts, you come into them slowly. You make sure you're paying attention to the other cars coming into them and you follow the directions. And I think I remember in the driver's manual for Minnesota for the test, there's a section on roundabouts. If you have kids going for their driver's licenses and you live in Minnesota, make sure they read that and they learn how to do it. That's my
Yes.
PSA about roundabouts. So now, after all that, I would love to hear about you and what you do.
Perfect. So let's see, I've been in Minnesota since, oh, let's see, when did I leave Wisconsin? Go, Pat, go.
I thought I
Um,
heard some sconcy in there.
Oh, yeah, you did. Let's see, since 2006, I came here for school. And a funny story with my husband is that I had told one of my really good friends, I had told her, as like, if this date doesn't work out, I'm moving to Texas. I'm gonna be a police officer, and that's gonna be it. We're gonna be good. Well, apparently the date worked out because I'm still here 20
Yes.
years later. Um, but no, it's been great. I started with school. I have always wanted to be a police officer. I did the crossing guard in 3rd grade. It just, everything about it screamed, yes, that's what I want to do. I wanted to help people. I wanted to protect people. And I went to school to try and do that. And then as things went on, I became more interested in forensic science. And I was one of, the few before CSI came out to do their wonderful effect on people. I knew you couldn't swipe screens in midair. Um,
But how
Wanted to
cool
do,
but how cool would it be if you could?
oh my God, that fantastic. Things would go so much faster. Things would be
Uh-huh.
so much smoother. But I think we're quite a few years away from, having screens in midair like Iron Man and all of that. It'd be great. Oh man, would it be great, even just for life in general. But I went to do all of that. Started with, security positions that I would do either in the city for an apartment complex. And then I went to work for the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and I absolutely loved my job. I loved that people felt comfortable enough to come to me with questions. They wanted advice. I loved being able to do all of that. And I had one incident when I was pregnant, and I wasn't protected by the people I worked for. And I said, nope, I'm done. I'm not going to put my baby's life in danger anymore. And I looked for a new job. I tried to stay with the federal government, and I went to do federal background investigations. So anytime somebody who's going to enter the federal workforce, you have to get a background check done of 10 years or your 18th birthday, whichever one is there first. And so I did that for about 10 years. And when we were told that everybody needed to go back to the office 5 days a week, no more remote unless it was, you know, something came up and you could work a half day, whatever the case may be. And I cried. I got excited. I got scared. All of the emotions going through because I have a son who has type 1 diabetes,
Mm,
and I needed to think about him before me, being that he is younger. And I was like, nope, I'm going to take this package that they're offering. I'm going to resign from my position so I can be home. Because, you know, it's 2 kids for 2 grandparents is way too much. It's, you know, it's not their responsibility to raise my kids. That's my job.
right.
So I resigned from my position and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something. So I took a couple months, you know, of my quote unquote vacation, to be with my kids, do stuff after school, do things with them on the weekend. I felt grateful that I was able to be able to do that. And I was like, I'm going to start a bakery. I, you know, have celiac. I've had celiac for 13 years now. And what I was finding, whether it was other bakers or stuff in the grocery store, the freezer section, it was not anywhere near what I wanted to eat.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard that from lots of people.
Yep. When I was first diagnosed, the one thing that I remember is the doctor had said to me, you know, you are going to waste a lot of money in the beginning. You are going to be throwing away a lot of food in the beginning until you find what works for you. And that was 100% true. And I hated it. I hated that I wasted so much. I got frustrated over things that I tried to make that didn't turn out. I got frustrated at paying so much for one product to get something so tiny in return. A good example is bread.
Mhm.
So they've gotten better with bread now as far as size wise, for some companies. But you would buy that bread, you take a couple slices out, and you have this egg size hole right in the middle through the rest of the pieces. And you're like, well, I just paid all of this money for this tiny piece of bread, and then to have a huge hole that probably takes away half the bread. I was like, I can't, no, this isn't working. So
It's
I
un
stopped
it's
buying a lot of stuff.
it's unacceptable, yes.
Yes. And I mean, you could contact the company and they would say, oh, I'm sorry, here's a coupon for another one. You buy that other one, it happens again. You're like, you know what? Don't send me another coupon. I'm just done buying it.
Yeah.
And so May of last year, I came up with a name. I was sitting in my computer room. I had a couple glasses of wine, I won't lie. I was scared. This is a huge move. And bouncing names off of my husband. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I want my items to be good down to the last crumb. I don't want people to leave half of it and be like, well, that was okay. That was good for gluten free. I wanted it to be, damn, that was good.
Mhm.
And a take with Wildflower is that it's not wheat. There's so many different mixtures to make one thing to make it even close to being like it was full of gluten. And I was like, this is wild. I was like, I'm going to do flour because I have to use so many flours instead of the plant version. So I was like, Wildflower Crumb Co. And of course, with names, you got to look up to see, is there anybody else that has it? If so, where are they located? How many people have it? And I found maybe a Wildflower bakery or nothing that was what I wanted.
You were
Nothing
lucky.
that was gluten-free. nothing that had to do with Crumb Co, things like that. And I was like, this is it. I'm doing it. I put it in. I started my Facebook page and I was like, this is it. I did it. I hit submit. I was like, I can't take it back now because people are going to see it.
Yes. Yes,
So
absolutely.
that was it. And here we are today.
That is a fabulous story, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I am so proud of you for trying to
Oh,
pursue being a police officer, because not only is it a difficult profession for any human being, but it's really hard for women to get into it, so I'm really proud of you. I'm
thank you.
also I'm also really proud of you for knowing who you are and thinking through your decisions and making the right decisions for you, because that's also something that's hard for women to do.
No, tears. All right. Yes. Because
I'm sorry.
there's no, you're good. There's so much that's expected of mothers that it's hard when we want to do something for ourselves. We end up feeling, there's a slight guilt of, well, shoot, I could have did this instead. Or we're expected to do the job, to do the kids, to do the housework, to do the cooking. And I've been lucky that my husband helps with all of that. But it's those expectations that are, put in your mind that every decision you make, it's like, well, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for, my kids? Am I doing this for my husband? What can I do for me that I'm also going to benefit other people? And trying to make all those decisions at once, it's no wonder we're all exhausted.
And insane most of the time.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So every time I hear a story like yours, I just want to say I'm proud of you guys, or you gals, as it were, because it's hard. And I I have so many things I could have been, but the thing that I really wanted to be was a mom.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna cry. And I didn't want my kids to be in daycare. I wanted to raise them. So I raised 4 kids, and they're all functioning adults who are good people. Proudest thing in
Nice.
my life. And then the youngest one decided he was gonna move out, and I was like, "Oh my god, I need a project because I can't do full empty nest without a project, or I will just be miserable." And I started a podcast, so it worked out.
Well, I'm proud of you for doing that. That is amazing work.
I freaking love it. It's so fun. And I don't know if you're talking about raising the 4 functional adults or the podcast or
Both.
both, but I
Both.
loved raising the kids and I love the podcast. So I don't know how intentional any of it was except for starting the podcast because I needed a project. But just please keep doing what you're doing in the way that you're doing it, because you are being intentional about your decisions and your life and your family, and that's so important. Okay, so let's stop Psychology 101 now and switch to you do gluten-free exclusively?
I do because I have celiac. So that is the autoimmune disorder where if I ingest any size of gluten, it could be the size of a pinhead, my intestines will be like, hey, that's foreign, and they start to attack itself.
Mhm.
And when that happens, the villi that are in your small intestine, it's the finger-like extensions that grab onto vitamins, minerals, things like that for your body, they die.
Oh,
And so there's nothing to grab a hold of what your body needs to put it where it needs to go. And so you end up with deficiencies in vitamins. You can have the dry skin, the gut issues, bruises, brain fog. I mean, every symptom that goes along with every other existing issue in the world. So trying to nail down, well, when do I feel this? And it happened every time I ate. So going to the doctor. First, we did a blood test, which is what you can do. And because my levels, I believe it's the IgA, my levels were so high that my doctor had said if you would like to do an endoscopy to confirm, you can. Otherwise, you don't have to because of how high your number is. And I was like, well, I'll just skip that. Thank you. I don't want to stick a tube down my throat.
Yep.
So no, skipped all of that. And so trying to be gluten-free, at least for sure in my house. The only gluten that's in my house, there's a few snacks for my kids, but they stay in the garage just because I don't want to have that issue. One, for me, because it sucks. And two, I don't want, say my kids had a snack on the counter where I bake. I
Yeah.
don't want that to end up in somebody else's food and then they get sick because I couldn't see that crumb because it was so small. I mean, that's all it takes for a lot of people to get sick. So gluten-free, that's it. When you mix something, a lot of that flour goes into the air. So a lot of the times, like for people who have celiac, we can't go into bakeries. Well, we shouldn't, at least the back part. People that make their own pizza dough, because that flour raises up in the air and then it lands everywhere. It doesn't just go straight up and straight down because you got people moving, ovens with their air, fans, breathing, and it goes everywhere and then it lands and it stays there for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to cross-contaminate.
Yeah, so that's, for some reason, why I still don't understand, even in a 700-degree pizza oven, that gluten does not get burned off. It does not die.
Mhm.
It just stays. And it can fall onto say I order a pizza, that gluten can fall onto my pizza, and then that's it. Then I'm done. I'm like, well, that's great. Next.
Yep. I have a pretty good understanding of some of this because I get migraines, and one of the triggers for migraines for me is MSG.
Yep.
I have to read every freaking label on every freaking pre-made thing that I debate eating because if I eat 2 Dorito chips, my head pounds for 2 days.
It's insane.
Doritos have been off the menu for over 15, maybe 20 years now, and I loved Doritos. Cannot eat them. And so I get it. It's a real thing. If you know that if you ingest something and you know the results of that and they're bad, it is such a hard shift to make. So again, proud of you.
100%. 100%.
Commend you for knowing your limits, but also trying to help other people who have the same thing.
Yeah, and reading labels is such a pain because you could read one product, you go to the grocery store, read one product, like, oh, okay, I can have this. But you go to the store again, they could change their entire ingredient list. They don't have to say anything. You go buy it, you get sick, you're like, well, I had this last time. Why can't I have it now? And you look at the ingredient list again, you're like, oh, they changed it. That's why.
Yeah, but you find out the hard way before you realize it. That's the part
Yep.
that sucks. Okay,
Yep.
so do you make just breads or do you make cakes and cookies or what do you make? What are the goodies you make?
Everything. I have bread right now in the oven. I've made chocolate chip cookies. I've made a pistachio cake. I make a great, amazing, and dare I say it, moist chocolate cake. If you hear
Ooh.
moist and chocolate cake and gluten-free all in the same sentence, normally it's like a hockey puck or it's
Yeah.
dry, but not mine. I don't like chocolate cake. I don't like chocolate ice cream. I'm really strange, but I love chocolate chip cookies. I scarfed down a chocolate cupcake that I had made because I made an extra. You have to batch test, of course.
Of course, yes, it's one of the benefits
And
of the job.
right? And no, I scarfed it down. I was like, I hate chocolate, but that was amazing. Um, Cinnamon rolls, you name it, brownies, lemon bars. I've done Twix bars, well, quote unquote Twix bars.
Yes.
Um, Brownie cookies. I've did Rocky Road brownie cookies. Anything that is in a normal bakery, a normal recipe book, you want it, I can make it.
That is fabulous. So tell me again how long you've been doing this?
So baking for business since last May, so May of 2025.
Okay.
Otherwise, making all of my stuff for 13 years.
So you've been perfecting this for quite a while.
It it's so gluten-free baking is 100% science and not art, like a lot of baking is with wheat flour,
Right.
because you have to have the correct amount of between your fats, your liquids, and your dries. You can't be like, oh, I'm just going to toss in a little extra sugar or take out sugar because I don't want so much. And what a lot of people don't get is that reaction between the sugars and the fats are what make your gluten-free item taste amazing, taste like, you would think you're eating gluten. I've had some people message me after they've had something and be like, "Are you sure this was gluten-free?" And I'm like, 100%.
You are a magician too.
It is 100% magic. It's
Yeah.
You could do the recipe one day, it turns out just how it's supposed to, and you try it again the next day and you miss 20 grams of flour, it's gonna flop. And you have to be precise each and every time with gluten-free baking.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you, I tried making gluten-free bread maybe 3, 4 years ago, and, it tasted really good, and I don't remember the recipe, so don't ask me, I have no idea how I did it, but it was so dense,
Yes.
and I was like, "Yeah, gluten-free bakery stuff is probably not gonna be my thing, I'm gonna leave it to the experts."
Yeah, with my bread, you can leave it on the counter for up to 4 days, and just like fresh bakery bread, that's when it's gonna start to get stale and then start to mold because I don't use any preservatives in my food. But for somebody to have a soft sandwich without toasting the bread first is what I wanted people to experience, because that's what I missed was, growing up, I would have the bologna cheese and Dorito sandwich or
Yeah.
the ham and Lay's chip sandwich. So I wanted people to be able to have that memory again, that soft sandwich that they've been craving, because that's what I liked to eat, and I know I can't be the only one. So I wanted, that soft bread. So it's trying different things to see, okay, well, what can I use instead of this? Can I sub this for this in case somebody can't have that? It's trying the different things back and forth and then be like, holy crap, that worked.
Mhm. It's a beautiful thing when a plan comes together. Um,
Very.
so do you sell at farmers markets? Do you sell online? Where do you sell your goods?
Um, Through my house, if somebody, sends a message or there's a referral and I get an email, a text, a phone call. I also, at least right now, I am at the All Wheel Wednesdays in Belle Plaine.
Okay.
Um, every Wednesday except for July 15th because of their barbecue days. Um, that's so far right now. I know I have an event in Chaska. It's what is it called? Um, let's see, I have it on my calendar. At least I hope I do. Let Freedom Ride. It's a car show in Chaska on July 25th, and it's somebody that organizes these to get donations and things like that for women who have gone through stillbirths and miscarriages and things like that. And they're doing a special one for America's 250th. So I will be there. And then there's just, a few things that pop up along the way that are like, oh, do you have a gluten-free vendor? Or, there's an art show, not an art show, but like an art class that's actually in Sueur Um, I'm doing some things for that, which is tomorrow. No, today's Friday. Yes, tomorrow. So I mean, it's little things like that that you can, if you're participating in that and signed up, you get to, try some of my goodies through there. Otherwise, a lot of it is the word of mouth, posting on Facebook, doing things like that, and hoping that the one person that did try it tells their friend,
Mhm.
or says, hey, I know this person will be here. I know you're gluten-free, things like that. But I want it to be more than just people who need to be gluten-free to find me, because my food, and I hate tooting my own horn, but I keep getting told that I need to because of how good my stuff is. That I don't want it just to be gluten-free people that find me. I want anybody who wants something delicious to find me. Um, and I think that's really important for me to be able to help people like that want something good, that has, good ingredients in it, and that they can feel good about eating and not be like, oh, I just, I ate all of this crap. I don't want any of that. I want to be like, oh, that was really good. I feel good about that. She has, quality ingredients, things like that.
Yes. Reframe it from tooting your own horn to telling your own truth,
Yes.
because telling your own truth is a much more positive framework for your brain to accept.
Yes.
So, so people can find you at Wildflower Crumb Company on Facebook. Anywhere else they can find you online?
Gmail added to that if they want to email. Otherwise, finding me in Belle Plaine on Wednesdays, or other random events. I've I've tried making a website, and apparently I've been out of the computer game like that for way too long, because even with help, like frames and, oh, here's a, take this and you can, just change the wording. I am not having any luck getting that finished in the slightest.
Do you own your domain name?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't even know how to do that.
Okay. Well, I know a little bit about websites, so if you want to pick my brain, you are welcome to do that when we're done recording.
I would love to.
Okay. Um, so it's Wildflower, it's Wildflour
Yep.
Crumb, Crumb Company, Company on Facebook. I want people to be able to find you and find out where you're going to be this summer. So that's why I said it that way.
Perfect.
Ashley, so proud of you. So glad you're doing what you're doing. And number one, you helped yourself, which is really cool. And then you took all that knowledge and you're helping other people, which is I'm applauding you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's
Thank-
nice to hear, feedback like that, just because you don't hear it a lot, if at all.
Yeah.
Getting the feedback of, man, that was really good, or that's the best cake I've had. Those are all awesome to hear, and it makes me smile bigger than anybody, could see or know. But just to, have somebody say, I'm proud of you, like that's a totally different phrase that has a different effect on your heart.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I say it to people I'm proud of, because you guys need to hear it, because I don't hear it very often either. And when I hear it, I'm like, "Aw,
Yeah.
thanks." So I
Yeah.
get it. All right. So thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it, and keep doing the good work.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.